人のことは知らんけどな、俺は命ある限り相手を殺しに回る。それだけや。
日本最大の広域暴力団山口組の最高幹部が一挙に殺されるという暴力団の抗争史上でも例を見ない襲撃事件が起きてから8日経ちました。
The Yakuza are dying, and something worse is replacing them. And what's rising instead is more efficient, more ruthless, and completely invisible when it comes to responsibility. The Yakuza have been Japan's most well-known criminal organization, and for a long time, they held serious influence over Japanese society. So when you hear the Yakuza are dying, it might sound hard to believe, but the reality is, with the digitalization of society and the dramatic shift in values among younger generations, the existence of the Yakuza is now clearly in decline. When I say the Yakuza are dying, I mean their numbers are shrinking, their influence is fading, and they're losing the ability to control parts of society. At their peak, they were said to have around 90k members. Today, the number is well under 20k. But what really matters isn't that the Yakuza are decreasing, it's what's filling the vacuum they leave behind. And to understand that, we need to start with the Yakuza's history. The origins of the Yakuza are said to go back to the mid-Edo period. They are believed to have evolved mainly from two separate groups, Tekiya and Bakuto. Tekiya are like street vendors. During Shinto festivals, they will set up temporary stalls and often sold illegal or low-quality goods. Even today, you can still see connections between festival stalls and people with Yakuza ties, which hints at these historical roots. Bakuto, simply put, were gamblers. They ran gambling houses, offered high-interest loans, and provided security. The word Yakuza itself comes from these Bakuto. In a card game called Oichokabu, the hand 893 was the worst possible combination, and 893 can be read as Yakuza in Japanese. That meant they referred to themselves as the lowest or good-for-nothing people. The time when the Yakuza had the most power was right after World War II. Most major Japanese cities except Kyoto were devastated by air raids and even nuclear weapons. Factories and infrastructure were destroyed, and Japan faced massive famine. What kept people alive during the time were yamiichi, black markets. Even though they were illegal, they functioned as a substitute for everyday life infrastructure. On the black market, goods were sold at inflated prices, but you could get almost anything. Naturally, these legally gray spaces became breeding grounds for crime. Protection rackets, kickbacks, smuggling, fraud. Fights broke out between Yakuza groups over control of these incredibly profitable markets. During this chaotic time, there were also frequent incidents of Chinese and Korean mafia groups causing unrest in the streets, taking advantage of the confusion. Because the police were weakened under GHQ policies, there were even cases where they relied on the Yakuza to help maintain public order. So the Yakuza didn't just make money through crime, they also had a side where they contributed to maintaining order in Japan. And that's part of what made the Yakuza what they were. Back then, Yakuza society at least had the pretense of Jingi. Jingi represents a code of honor, standing up to the powerful, protecting the weak, and never harming ordinary students. Kataki. These are often talked about like heroic stories, but really they were conditions that allowed the Yakuza to be tolerated in society. Because of this pretense, the Yakuza could put up signs, have offices, carry business cards, and exist in semi-coexistence with the legitimate world. People back then called them a hitsuaku, necessary evil, and somewhere in their hearts, they accepted their existence. But the balance didn't last forever. In the 1990s, during the economic boom, Yakuza organizations like the Yamaguchi-gumi expanded aggressively, trying to increase their shinogi, their sources of income. But the bigger their operations became, the more contact they had with regular society. That meant more contact with katagi, ordinary citizens, and violence against ordinary people increased. Drug businesses expanded as well. This is how the Yakuza began to forget Jingi. They used to operate in a world separate from ordinary society, but their shinogi, their sources of income, grew so large that they became deeply entangled with the lives of regular people. A major trigger that led to the Yakuza's collapse was a large-scale Yakuza conflict known as the Yamaichi War. This conflict began in the mid-1980s following an internal split within the Yamaguchi-gumi, which was the largest Yakuza organization in Japan at the time. The newly formed breakaway group, the Ichiwakai and the original Yamaguchi-gumi, clashed across the country.
人のことは知らんけどな、俺は命ある限り相手を殺しに回る。それだけや。
During the conflict, the first boss, Masahisa Takenaka, was gunned down, further escalating the violence. At the time, the fighting was not limited to clashes between gang members. There were numerous shootings in urban areas, stray bullets, and other incidents that threatened ordinary citizens, creating widespread fears throughout society. In total, the conflict resulted in 317 violent incidents, and 3 civilians with no gang ties lost their lives. From that point, public opinion towards the Yakuza worsened dramatically, and Botaiho, the anti-Yakuza law, was established. This law essentially banned the Yakuza from operating openly. It prevented them from opening bank accounts, renting homes, and even getting regular jobs. This caused the Yakuza to lose power very quickly. On top of that, the weekend Yakuza were hit by another big issue: Asian. I mean, even Yakuza could not be Asian. Today, the average Yakuza member is over 55 years old. They've lost their appeal to younger generations. Jingi shows no interest in becoming Yakuza. Instead, they're drawn to something more efficient and less restrictive. This is Tokuryu, short for anonymous, fluid organizations. Just like the name suggests, they don't have group names like Yakuza families do. They are anonymous with no fixed members. They gather online each time to commit crimes. So why does Jingi choose Tokuryu over the Yakuza? Maybe they don't want tattoos that keep them out of onsen, like me. But the biggest reason is that you can join with just a smartphone. For a generation born into the digital age, the Yakuza seems inefficient and irrational. Tokuryu, on the other hand, can gather instantly through social media and forums and encrypted chats and start making money. Then there's no psychological barrier of joining an organization like Exchange Sakazuki. So many people see it as one-time casual job, and best of all, you don't have to cut off your finger to take responsibility. But the recruitment of young people is extremely clever. They present it in a way that don't require crimes, just deliver a package, just rent a bank account. These are called yamibaito, dark part-time jobs, and in recent years, they become a serious social problem in Japan because they hire among normal job listings. Many Jingi participants end up committing crimes with the feeling that's just the light work. At the same time, groups known as Hangre are expanding. Unlike Tokuryu, Hangre tend to operate with relatively consistent members, but they are officially not part of Yakuza organizations. They also use the Yamibaito method for recruitment. Because they are not officially Yakuza, they use the face of ordinary Katagi people to slip through legal cracks, making it hard for police to grasp their true structure or arrest them. Hangre aren't a new term like Tokuryu. They've existed for a long time. So why are they rising now? Because the Yakuza have weakened. With the Yakuza losing power, Hangre no longer fear them, and their crimes have been steadily increasing. The Yakuza once had a side role in maintaining local order, so while the anti-Yakuza law reduced the Yakuza, it also allowed Hangre to grow. In other words, the number of crimes hasn't truly decreased. It's basically stayed the same. One incident symbolizes this, the Parisian incident. At a time when the Yakuza were weakened by the anti-Yakuza law, a Chinese mafia group killed a Yakuza member at a Parisian cafe in Kabukicho. This incident shows the reality. The vacuum left by the Yakuza was filled by groups with no names, with no responsibility, like Hangre and scout gangs. And they don't have long-term rules or calculations. If someone gets arrested, they're cut off. If a group collapses, they just restart under a new name. So their money making is short-term, and their treatment of people becomes extremely careless. Their psychological barrier to violence is low, and the victims are no longer limited to the underground. Ordinary people, young people, and women are directly targeted. All Yakuza society, for better or worse, had the restraint that if we go too far, we are finished. Now no one knows who's in control, and responsibility is invisible. Crime becomes random and unpredictable, and the feeling of the safety declines more than the numbers shows. In other words, the anti-Yakuza law reduced the Yakuza, but it also destroyed the existing order. The Parisian incident clearly shows that if the Yakuza disappear, society becomes safer is not such a simple story. Because of all this, some people say Japan still needs the Yakuza. I get it, but I disagree. The Yakuza didn't just maintain order, they also committed and fueled crime. Given the history, the anti-Yakuza law was inevitable, and the rise of Tokuryu and Hangre, that was predictable, I feel like. The law removed the organization, but not the structure that produced crime. As long as demon exists, supply will return in another form. The name Yakuza disappeared, crime didn't. Instead, it evolved into something harder to see, harder to trace, and harder to hold accountable. That's Tokuryu and that's Hangre. They slip through the law because they have no official names, no clear hierarchies, no fixed membership. So the real problem isn't that we crushed the Yakuza, it's that we crushed them without building anything to replace the order they once represented. The anti-Yakuza law was necessary, that's true, but we also needed a system to observe criminal demon, real escape for the society isolated, ways to handle dispute that hold behind the cracks of the law. We didn't build those, so crime became invisible and victims became more random, often ordinary people. So, are the Yakuza necessary? No. But what if you want to see Yakuza? They're still alive at Sega.